Greetings and welcome to our 19th of March 2023 Sunday night live stream. Hope you're all doing well out there, and hope we're playing back smoothly, no stutters or interruptions. I will start this evening by saying hello to Midnight Scribbler, Sunstar Thunder Lightning, Nathan Oakley and Nicholas Pitts, plus AJ R for being in the live chat. Thanks for accompanying us. I will try and keep up with the live chat tonight. I know if you caught the pre-show, I was saying how I sometimes don't focus so much on the live chat in the midweek streams, but on Sunday we go on for a bit longer, so I will try and keep up with it. And if anyone's got any suggestions for topics we're going to look at, then I do invite them. I've got numerous things we could potentially look at if we get time. Right, let me just do my playback check a second and we'll get going. Yes, things seem to be playing back all right. Right, yeah, speaking of the live chat, Nathan Oakley is with us. Great to see you, and asks, why fake babies? To be honest, couldn't say for definite my personal opinion on it. The first time I noticed it was I saw a tweet on Twitter, and it was a person suggesting Harry and Meghan had presented a doll, and they actually identified the doll that was on sale that looked just like baby Archie, as it were. And yeah, I made a video on it, and that was the first one. And then I looked at other royals, such as when Kate and William presented their babies, how two of them had identical synchronized movements, whilst the other one was completely stationary. That is a very common thing we see. On that note, actually, right, and then after that I started seeing them everywhere. Every time I looked on Instagram, I would get suggestions for a celebrity that had just released their baby pictures. For example, let me bring up this latest story. Hang on. Of course, every special occasion, the royals seem to present new images. Like today, for example, Mother's Day, so of course Kate being a mother, apparently they present us some new pictures of their children. It's Mother's Day in the UK, and quite often they'll link it with asking you to donate to a charity, or normally charity comes into it some way or another. Of course, this isn't answering why they fake babies. It's just part of the production. We're talking about these images are made by studios such as, let's see, who owns... Okay, Matt Porteous apparently arranged... Hang on, let me zoom out so you can see it a bit better. They arranged for the children and Kate to climb a tree and all hope that the branch doesn't break, or... Yeah, either way you look at it, this image, is, in my book, is as staged as it can possibly get. It doesn't generally happen that an entire family will climb a tree. So does that automatically mean... Yeah, my view would be, yeah, every single one of these kids on here are photoshopped into this image. Perhaps there is a model that steps in to take the role of Kate, and then after that they can superimpose any image they want on top of the model. It's easily done, and these images are not good enough picture quality to even scrutinize it. Let's see, can we get a close-up? No, we cannot. Yeah, as I say, every single special occasion will be marked with a new presentation As for this one, back when the Queen presented us, I guess that's meant to be William. Were they faking it back then? Who knows? I wouldn't, I personally wouldn't be too surprised, but as for what we're seeing now, a lot of them are just suspect AF. And these what kind of professional photographer would take a picture of someone and just get the top of their head? That's about as, I really wish I could get a close-up on this. What am I doing wrong? Here we go. Can we not look at this and see plastic doll? Maybe you cannot, but look at that hair. Look how it's stuck to the top of this doll, and they've just overlaid a crap blonde wig on top of it. I mean, that's clearly two separate hair pieces. Yeah, in this image, Kate is holding a doll, as far as that is my personal opinion. The arm might look relatively real, but that head certainly does not. I hope you can see that. And that is the sort of thing I like to save to my scrapbook. Yeah, so as for why they would do it, the same reason that, say, Coronation Street present Ken Barlow's baby or grandchild now, or great-great-grandchild, or whatever it is. Same reason they introduce new characters into soaps. Same reason they... Yeah, just to keep us interested, keep us buying, because normally, yeah, here we go. Marie Claire, I guess this is the fashion magazine that have bought the rights to these images. What kind of families sell off rights to their family photos? It's just not real life, in my opinion. Whether or not it's for Mother's Day. Right. We need to be... That would be how I gauge it. And it goes much further, I guess. There's tons of these celebrities. Right, Sophie Grace Brownlee, 19, introduces adorable baby boy and shares traumatic birth story. Again, all of this. Are we supposed to believe that this studio perfect set in the background is actually this woman's bedroom or hospital room? Not a speck of dust in sight, not a mark on the wall, just perfectly lined up cards and some balloons as well. And apparently the Metro are the ones who own these images. I mean, yeah, for me, and look at that poor baby. I'm not sure how old this child's meant to be, but look at the way they've twisted that baby's neck. Would you seriously hold a child like that? 90-degree angle. That baby's neck is at. I don't think so. Couple that with the with the sort of exaggerated, padded out features on this supposed woman, and it's all a bit too suspect for me personally to buy. And of course, this website again is, I'm sure it's on Instagram. That's just a guess. This woman's put these images on Instagram, or did she sell them direct to the Metro? I mean, I don't even know who this woman is, to be honest with you, but I'm sure she's someone of relevance. Let's have a look for them on Insta. Right, I'll just keep up with the live chat whilst we look for that one. Yeah, Nathan says, are the people themselves real as well? Which, yeah, here we go. Typical. I've called this out plenty of times. Every time, well, not every time, but it is very typical for celebrities to present these type of images of babies clutching adult fingers. I've made a video on them, and over time, just more and more get added to the list. Right, and of course somewhere she shared her traumatic birth. Well, yeah, go back and check when it was. 5th of March she gave birth, so that baby is about 2 weeks old, and she's got it with its head at a 45-degree angle. Is that okay? She hasn't put her images up yet, and it's every one of these celebrities have a gender reveal thing where they release a load of balloons or some such. They all couple it with this is no doubt a marketing, promoting these clothes. I expect she was instructed to be seen on Instagram wearing them. Are they real? Perhaps. Yeah, I guess the people who pose for the photographs on some level must be real, but what they do to the photos is anyone's. They can do lots of things with them, as demonstrated by someone we looked at a while back. I'll just jump to I'll try not to play it. Right. Yeah, baby faking Instagrammer comes clean. This is on where she goes through all the things she can do that they can do. Emma Clarkson. So it's all very manipulatable. Right, greetings to Maria Ellender. Thanks for tuning in. Nathan says its neck is rigid too. Maria says fake Putin in Mariupol pictures. Yeah, that is a subject we're certainly going to get onto tonight, because apparently there are some new job opportunities available. I don't know if anyone's interested. We'll be having a look at the requirements for that later on. You might have to undergo some plastic surgery or be willing to wear a prosthetic face mask and potentially risk getting arrested and serving however many years in solitary or some political prison. But yes, apparently 200 new jobs are opening up somewhere in Russia right about now. I might jump over there and I did notice actually someone in the chat earlier had the Ukraine flag. Who was that? I think it was Timothy. No, sorry, Nicholas. Is that the Ukraine flag, or am I being ridiculously ignorant of international flags? Yeah, so we'll look at fake Putin. Who's the other one? I can't for the life of me remember the name of the other of the leader of the Ukraine. But speaking of, we'll certainly look at that later. Just touching on, I'm pretty sure it was last Sunday, it was mentioned how many musicians are reported of dying young, and I mentioned, a lot of them die at 27, and just by apparently sheer coincidence, an advert for this headline, of the 27 Club. So if I can get a good image on we'll try and go through them, all the people that passed on. Right, can we get any better close-ups? Nope. That is as good as it gets. Apparently, Jimi Hendrix, Brian Jones of the Rolling Stones. Something suspect about a lot of the Rolling Stones, by the way. And as for Jimi Hendrix, there is some suggestion that he's now an actor. Goes by the name of Morgan Freeman, but you'd have to make that comparison and judge for yourself. Brian Jones, something about someone who used to clean their glasses. Jim Morrison was another 27-year-old. Robert Johnson that they couldn't even find a photo of. He was a blues musician. Kurt Cobain, who I have heard it suggested went off and performed in the band Weezer. Again, listen to their music, judge for yourself. Ron Pigpen McKernan, who was a founding member of the Grateful Dead. Amy Winehouse. Is this the last one, I think? The last member of the club. Celebrities who were shot. We won't look at that. A singer with a unique... Yeah. Okay, so I'm sure there's plenty more as well if you look through it. Any relevance to the number 27? I have said in a lot of stories, which I would believe are fabricated from start to finish, they do seem to put numbers in. 23 seems to be a big one. 22, 33. We looked at I'm pretty sure it was last Sunday, we looked at the Jehovah's Witnesses attack, where I think it was 22 were injured or killed. I'd have to go back and look at that. But I know that the numbers came up. And then apparently in a monastery as well. Maybe I got rid of that. I know I did a search for 22. Yeah, this is where I get a lot of the inspiration for my streams, on these headlines every time. Like The Independent have covered a 6-year-old secretly records apology video on father's phone, as if that would get in The Independent. So I would suggest that this video is fake, but one of their typical manufactured pieces of news. I always get images of the royals. Maria says 27, 3 times 9, so 3 9s. Yeah, certainly is. And Nathan also says babies do look like aliens because they have disproportionately big eyes. Your eyes don't grow, so they look massive on a baby. Are you saying yeah, do you mean babies in general, or celebrity babies, as I would put it? They're laughing at us. Grey aliens are scaled like babies. Midnight says it was the Russian flag. Thank you for correcting me on that one. As I say, yeah, hideously ignorant. Isn't the Ukraine blue and yellow? That's the one that gets plastered everywhere at the moment. So where were we? Yeah, it was. I did a search for 22, and it came up about a monastery. Whether that's... And that obviously, just because you see the number 22 doesn't automatically mean that it's a fabricated story. It just does seem to be something that is of relevance in a lot of them. As I've said before, I knew someone that featured on the front of one of these weekly magazines, some love rat that ditched his pregnant wife, and the story, the actual incident took place like 5, maybe even 10 years ago. It wasn't recent, but after a few years, they took on the story. Happened to be when the love rat was 33 years of age. Again, whether that's a coincidence, but yeah, that's certainly a story I can confirm happened. So not everything that features these numbers are automatically to be, yeah. But they seem to be of relevance. That is something I have certainly found. AJ says it's not Putin. He was killed by the Illuminati in 2010. See, my personal opinion. Now, yeah, hang on, monastery. Yeah, they did the same story as the Jehovah's Witnesses. Let's have a look. This was 2 days ago. 3 Buddhist monks were shot in Myanmar last week. And again, the same number. I believe it was Jehovah's Witnesses. I believe it was the number 22, perhaps. I know there was something which drew my attention to it. Let's see. Oh, it was 7, okay. I'm not sure why I thought it included 22, but they certainly come up in enough other stories. Right, we'll have a look at these images of Putin. Where was he, by the way? Oh, Susan Byrne, good to see you in the live chat. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Right, Mariupol. Yeah, a lot of these right, Mariupol, not stage managed. Putin's trip to Mariupol was impulsive, not staged managed, insists Kremlin. So they're suggesting that Putin takes part in propaganda, in fabricated meetings. Just looking at this, I mean, for some reason, it's terrible picture quality. Do we not have high definition cameras that can get better images than this? But yeah, that does look ever so slightly like they've just put some sort of mask on this guy. He certainly wouldn't be the first time I've seen a world leader and thought, is that a mask? The first one would be Colonel Gaddafi. Gaddafi or Gaddafi? Gaddafi. If you ever saw this guy talk, sometimes it looks like his face is falling off. I don't know, can anyone else see a lifeless rubber mask? Sort of dead behind the eyes. I'm sure they're not the only one. I mean, look at that, come on. It's practically falling off the guy's face. It doesn't even sit properly. Yeah, if you don't see rubber mask, then, I mean, do we even see a join there? Let's have a better look at that one. Ooh, hopefully we've lost connection. Hopefully we're playing back all right. Let me just check. Okay. Hopefully we're still running. It doesn't want to do a close-up, but I will do a zoom on this part of the neck. And suggest we're looking at the join here. Again, that is, and of course, yeah. And I remember seeing the guy talk once. We will have a quick look at him talking. I know I've covered this before. This guy can hardly open his mouth. Let's see. Unless, I don't know, perhaps he's had some sort of stroke and he's lost use of his mouth. I guess that's possible.
States of Africa.
We don't need to hear the audio, do we? Just wait till he starts talking. If we ever see him start talking.
Colonel Muammar Gaddafi. Firstly, this summit is not the first.
This guy would make a very good ventriloquist. I think you've got to agree. He can talk without moving his mouth, without his lips moving. Incredible.
There have been others too that have attempted to mark Africa's presence.
Imagine how easy it would be to overdub the words of this man. He doesn't even need to say anything. just randomly move his lips, and they say, "Don't worry, we'll add the text to it after. We'll add the voice in afterwards." Strange. So, would that mean Putin images are likewise done that way? Oh yeah, I did ask. Sunstar says Ishmael Perez says Putin is cloned. Is it clones, or is like what's going to be the... Personally, I don't know if they're capable of cloning people. Do I believe they cloned Dolly the sheep? If you were going to say you'd clone something, sheep are the easiest thing because they all look the same anyway. Well, unless you're probably a real expert on sheep. And yeah, we'll have to see this guy talk. I mean, to me, that looks like a waxwork dummy. Doesn't even look like a real human. And I also remember when they used Hillary Clinton. Of course, there was this video of her collapsing, getting into a van. Or they said she collapsed, but it looked like they were maneuvering a doll. It's yeah, it's pretty insane. Yeah, our world leaders just made up characters, Mickey and Minnie Mouse. I guess we'd have to yeah, we'll keep scrutinizing, we'll keep inspecting, and yeah, perhaps one day we'll be able to accurately answer that one. Maria says, remember the fake Saddam that they caught down a drain? No, I don't, but as I've mentioned many times, they did make a film called Devil's Double. I haven't heard about the fake right, where are we? About the one that got found down the drain, but there is a video about a chilling vision of the house of Saddam. The world of Hussein comes to life through the eyes of a man who was given a choice: either be the double for Saddam's sadistic son or die. So they certainly would have us believe that Saddam and his family used doubles. So it always seems to be the enemy, though. Has it ever been suggested that whoever our current Prime Minister is a double? Yeah, I watched a bit of this. I never watched it all the way through. I know they make, if you were going to use propaganda against the enemy, you would make them look like this person, an arrogant, sadistic person. Anyway, yeah, watch it, maybe. But no, I haven't heard about the fake Saddam found in a drain. If I could spell. Right. Man who hid Saddam tells Saddam Hussein captured in hole. Okay. Apparently they televised this guy's hanging. Now, I personally see when all that was happening, I would have said, "Oh, I'd never watch don't want to see someone get hung, even if they are Saddam Hussein, supposedly the vicious, a horrible tyrant." But I'm not going to watch someone get hung. Now, I'd probably approach it more as, is it just dolls, CGI, fakery? Who knows? AJ says might just be bad plastic surgery. It could be. Definitely, yeah. I'm sure they use plastic surgery on these people. Right, we could look at the story about Putin. As I said, employment opportunities for anyone that wants to dress up as Vladimir Putin, as has been suggested. If there ever was a real Vlad, then that's not who we're seeing on the screens now. I would be inclined to agree with that. I wouldn't mind seeing him talk, actually. See if his lips move any better than... Right. I'm sure there were videos quite recently of the president of Ukraine, this guy Zelensky, and it looked like there were two of them in the shot. Will we see him talk? Right. Let's have a look at this.
Mr. President, thank you again for having us at Russia Energy Week.
This video is from 2021.
Mr. President, I want to ask you a little bit more specifically about succession plans. Every good CEO has one. When you think about this with regards to Russia, do you really want to be president when you're 84 years old?
Господин президент, хотел спросить, каждый исполнительный директор всегда думает о том, кто будет его преемник. Что вы думаете о вашем преемнике?
I gotta say, his talking is much better than we've seen with the likes of Gaddafi. Yeah, Zelensky also... Oh, Maria says it wasn't Saddam. His family all live in Yorkshire now. Brilliant. I'd love to know, good for them. And you also say there's a TV program called Deep Fake Neighbours at War. Worth a look just to see how they can deep fake people. Yeah, most definitely. That's a strange title for a TV program, Deep Fake Neighbours. Are they admitting that they're not even real families? Right, let's see, what do they tell us, any of the requirements for becoming a double? Vladimir has authorized the creation of many more body doubles because of his extreme paranoia about being abducted and handed over to an international court, according to sources within the Kremlin. The International Criminal Court issued the arrest of Putin and his associate, also known as the chief child catcher, for their roles in deporting Ukrainian children to Russia during the ongoing invasion. Yeah, I'd have to sympathise with anyone in the Ukraine. I imagine being forced out of your home and out of areas because they tell you we're about to do a load of bombing in this area. So now, my personal opinion is that wars are a very good way of rebuilding a old area. Maybe loads of listed buildings that are getting in the way of development, or buildings that are protected. So rather than go through the trouble of trying to obtain court orders to take control of the land, and they just bomb it and destroy it that way, and anyone in the way just has to move out, I guess. Right. A top Russian general is reported to have said Putin is terrified there's a plot to kidnap him because he can be arrested on war crimes. So how ridiculous and what a joke that is if the person we see dressed up as Vladimir is already one of these 200 lookalikes or stand-ins they want. So, yeah, to ask the question, as was asked earlier by Nathan, are these families real that present fake babies? They could be about as real as Vladimir. who... Right. But then, Vladimir isn't someone I know particularly well. So you'd have to make... Yeah. Right. We'll look up any suggestion that Saddam Hussein, Yorkshire. I do remember hearing a story about Saddam that supposedly he was a fan of England and he liked red buses, and then this was just before the narrative of the guy changed and he suddenly became like, you know, the devil incarnate. The BBC News. Wow, that's tiny text. Why is the text so ridiculous? Hang on. So, are we saying Saddam came as well, or was it just his family? Yeah, a Leeds suburb of Bramhope was also keen to quash stories that he was living in the UK on benefits. Following reports earlier this month that the women planned to seek asylum, Tony Blair's officials said any application would be turned down. And happened to be a 33-year-old involved in that story, and 10 children. Yeah, so the guy, certainly there was suggestions that his family wanted to come to Leeds, so thank you for that information, Maria. Midnight says you're half Ukrainian, and it's where the Khazarians come from. Is that... Yeah, Khazarians isn't a word or name I'm particularly familiar with. I have a feeling it's got a link to Judaism, but would have to look that up. So, yeah, Khazarian. That's all I'm going to look up, not mafia, just... I don't want to click on Wikipedia. I mean, obviously it's the first thing they give it. They tell us a nomadic Turkish established a major commercial empire. Right, is there any other information on them? Yeah, a forgotten Jewish empire. History today. We'll click on the second answer. We'll be adventurous and ambitious. Early religious controversies of Eastern Europe. Is that as much as we can read? Apparently there is a way you can bypass this, but I can't remember what it was now. I think, is it archive.ws or something? Let's try it. Or we might even have to stretch to the third answer. No, that doesn't work. Jews are Khazars. Mainly Turkish and... Okay. Yeah, as I say, not something I'm particularly well educated on. But if you've got any links or suggestions to... In fact, Midnight, I put you as a mod. And if you want to share any links, you should be able to. Let's see. Anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Okay. It just mentions a mafia. So, okay, I will possibly look closer at that at some point. This is the video. This is a video. The Khazarian installed Ukrainians. There's only one way to save the American Republic, if it's not already too late. President Biden giving tens of billions of US dollar taxpayer money to World War III. Yeah, let's hope not. That would be a horrific thought. If we thought BS-19 was a bad state of affairs to live through, just imagine how much worse it would be if they started telling us, right, you've all got to go and live in, or go and, you know, anytime we set a siren off, you've all got to come out your homes and go into an underground air raid shelter or something. Yeah, that would be torture. Yeah, of course it could always be a lot worse than the situation we're in now. At least we've got kind of, you know, power, electricity, certainly in this part of the world. I hope is the case where you are as well. But quickly it can change. Extremely quickly. Right, Nathan shared a link to a channel, to something. Maria says, I'm half Latvian, Ashkenazi. Okay. The only exotic place I've got in, well, I've got links to Northern Ireland. I believe my grandmother was from Northern Ireland. And apparently, yeah, there's word she got in trouble for selling her Russian books or something. Russians. But I... Right, let's have a look at the link Nathan shared then. Is it suitable? I'm sure it is. Right, before we watch it, I'll just confirm what it is about. Ideological subversion with love. Okay, I'm certainly not going to watch another person's video in... But yeah, we could give it a preview. I mean, this is the sort of thing that maybe I would play on an intermission or something, but we'll have a look at it and just... we'll watch the first 30 seconds and... yeah, and I'll certainly put a link to this video in the description of... yeah, in the description box.
I'm afraid some of... Well, you spoke several times before about ideological subversion. That is a phrase that I'm afraid some Americans don't fully understand. When the Soviets used the phrase ideological subversion, what do they mean by it?
Ideological subversion is the process.
Before we carry on, I'm going to guess it's something they're suggesting is only used in the Soviet or wherever, is something the United States, Great Britain, France, Australia probably do as well.
Which is legitimate, overt, and open. You can see it with your own eyes. All you have to do, all American mass media has to do, is to unplug their bananas from their ears, open up their eyes, and they can see it. There is no mystery. There is nothing to do with espionage. I know that espionage intelligence gathering looks more romantic. It sells more deodorants through the advertising, probably. That's why your Hollywood producers are so crazy about James Bond type of thrillers. But in reality, the main emphasis of the KGB is not in the area of intelligence at all. According to my opinion, and opinion of many defectors of my caliber, only about 15% of time, money, and manpower is spent on espionage as such. The other...
Okay. I'm guessing he's going to say they use ideological subversion, which I guess ideological being they'll present ideas into people's minds with the intention of subverting them. As he said, all people have to do is take the bananas out of their ears and yeah, and become unplugged from it. but yeah, thank you for the link, Nathan. Much appreciated. I'll have a look at the channel. It looks like it's one in a foreign language, or maybe not. Okay, thank you for the link. Much appreciated. I'll hit on that one and catch up with his vids. Maria says, have you ever read Henry Markow blog? He goes deep into what you refer to. Okay, AJ says the Khazarians are fake Jews. Okay, gotcha. I'm sure there's plenty of fake Jews. I've heard some would suggest, is it Hollywood or even the BBC, for example, are run by, although it's not a politically correct thing to say, there are a lot of people that present themselves as Jewish that get jobs for the BBC, Channel 4, all the high-end, the large media companies, if that's who you're suggesting. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, thanks for the info. It's good to find out about this stuff. And Midnight says a synagogue of Satan. Huh. Right, how are we doing? Okay, we are getting on for about midway through the stream, so we might go to our intermission in the next 10 minutes. Yeah. Maria mentions Henry's Macau. We'll have a look at that before we do though. Let's see. Taliban fed up with the Jewish Satanists behind COVID, migrants, transgender and the Ukraine. On that subject, in 1989, a courageous young woman exposed the satanic Jewish forebearers of the Illuminati cult that now dominates the world. They are the Sabbatian Frankists who hate assimilated Jews as much as Goyim. Right, I will put a link to this, guys. I mean, I guess you could do the search yourself. Henry Macau. I will certainly put a link in the description for it. Yeah, on that note, we were talking about fake celebrities, and I said how they always have a moment where they reveal the gender. I mean, if I do a search for gender, how long till a celebrity pops up, party, whatever. Yeah, this is typical, absolutely typical of the thing I mean. Have we got audio? No, we haven't. They pop a balloon. And yeah, this is where we find out, oh, it's a girl. Great, what an amazing life these people must have. Bubble Moon Blues. Maybe these are people advertising balloons, so they might have another reason for sharing it, but I don't know, you do get lots of these celebrities that put this rubbish out. Okay, right, yeah, we're gonna go to our intermission. About 5 to 6 minutes, and we'll be back for the second part of the stream. Oh my, what am I doing? Yeah, I would like to thank, I'll take this opportunity, Maria, AJ, Midnight, Nathan, let's see, who have I missed? Susan, Maria, Sunstar and Nicholas for taking the time to comment in the chat. If I've missed anyone, yeah, I do apologise. Please leave a comment and I'll give you the shout out you deserve. But yeah, thanks for populating the live chat. It is appreciated. Okay, the video we're going to watch is from, let's see, Sharon Davies thanks Boris. Again, absolutely nothing to do with any of the subjects we've so far covered, but it is just a video that goes on for about 7 minutes just to keep you entertained while I refill my drink and yeah, take a quick break, because for me talking for an hour and a half, not something I can just do. I do need to rest my lungs for a little bit, and then that way we can go on another 30 minutes or so and finish about 11:30 this evening. So yeah, thanks for joining us so far, and I hope you can join us for the second half. If not, if you want to hit the thumbs up button before you leave tonight, that would be appreciated. Let's see, there's an animation I made just for you. Okay, enjoy this video. How long does it go on for? It is 6 minutes 15 seconds. Hopefully I'll be back before that runs out. If not, it will play on a loop, but I won't be much longer. It doesn't take me long to grab a drink. Okay, yeah, thanks for tuning in and joining us so far. I'll be back in a second. Greetings everyone. Now I just want to address this news story that was published in the Daily Mail on the 7th of April 2022, which is today. Of course, I say publish in the Daily Mail, but what one news outlet publishes, every single other news outlet will also cover identically, because they all publish the same thing, no independent journalism. This is a headline and a half, so you'll have to bear with me while I just take a breath. They're pretty much telling you the entire story just in one headline, in which case, why bother reading it? Thank you, Boris. Olympic swimmer Sharon Davies leads praise for PM as he says trans women should not be competing in female events and questions children's ability to make gender choices amid Tory row over conversion therapy ban. Yep, great, can't argue with the idea that trans women shouldn't compete, that children cannot make such decisions about gender. Totally agree with that. But when you look at the people involved in this story, Sharon Davies, why would she object to other trans athletes when, take a look at her yourself? We could read all this fluff in the article, which is basically summed up in the headline that we've already read, and we could of course watch a video of Boris talking about biological men. Interesting he would broach that subject. We're going to have a look at Boris in a minute. Sharon Davies, take a look at her. If it's not apparent in that picture, we'll go to this other publication, pinknews.co.uk. LGBT sport organisations respond to Sharon Davies' anti-trans claims. Sharon Davies, Kelly Holmes and other high-profile athletes have hit out at transgender athletes. Look at the picture they use of Sharon and see if they're trying to tell you anything. Are we not seeing that? Is it not blatantly obvious? Point you at that Adam's apple. Also the ridiculously wide shoulders. And if we look at some other images of Sharon, yeah, I think it's pretty clear that Sharon isn't quite as we might have believed all these years. Perhaps this story about transgender swimmer, let's find a picture of him. Well, these are all, I believe all the people you're going to see here is trans. This was a man that was a cyclist, well, basically put a wig on, whatever, and decided wants to compete in female. He has announced he'll start competing in female events, and here we see ridiculously masculine trans athlete who happened to win this event. I say, look at Sharon. Is her frame any different to what we're seeing. Of course, this is nothing new, okay? By all accounts, the laws when it comes to transgender athletes, it is only tennis that insists that competitors who are transgender have to have had transitional surgery in their genitals before puberty in order to compete as a female. Apparently that rule is already set out in tennis. Interesting again, what with the likes of Venus and Serena, and they're not the only two. All high-profile sport female events are peppered with these characters. You see them everywhere, believe me. Actually, before we move on from Sharon, we'll just have a look. She is 5'11", which is the average height of a man, by the way. And we see in her personal life, in autumn 2006, she announced that she was 3 months pregnant after 8 rounds of intravenous fertility treatment, having been trying for a baby for 4 years and suffering 2 miscarriages. We're very optimistic and happy, but we're cautious too because of what we've been going through. Giving birth at 44 doesn't worry me. So many women go through this as they leave it late to have babies. Well, yeah, okay, women do indeed have babies after 40, but celebrities just seem to be doing it all the time like it's nothing. So we can look at also Kelly Holmes. Let's see if this person is quite what they seem. Kelly Holmes herself is only 5'5" actually, she's a lot shorter, but is she just very muscular or is there more to it? And also, before we go on, we'll mention Boris Johnson. Who knows the deal with Boris, but let's look at his spouse. See if she too doesn't look a bit suspicious. One of my subscribers actually pointed out that Carrie and Boris share a striking resemblance to Lucas and Kevin McGee. You can't immediately ignore the similarities between Carrie and Matt Lucas's former partner, who's now supposedly died. Also, Boris and Matt Lucas. What a crazy possibility. Could it just be the same couple leading different roles? Who knows? Going back to that story, they did also include a story about youngsters and what age they can be taught about or what age they should be able to receive therapy, treatment. It's just putting that idea on the table that there is a certain age after which point we will start telling children you want to be considering whether or not you're in the right body. Ridiculous message put in the heads of children. It says they are going to outlaw conversion therapy for homosexuals, but the therapy for trans people will still not be outlawed in England, basically bringing up the possibility that they may outlaw anyone that comes to a doctor saying they believe they're in the wrong body. Any doctor or psychiatrist that might suggest, no, you're all right, you're just going for a phase, that will be made illegal. Scary times. Expect to see more athletes competing who you might want to take a closer look at, which just like Sharon Davies, you want to consider how square that jaw is, etc. Just one of the many reasons why I do not follow mainstream high-profile sports whatsoever. All ridiculous, all fakes, all fake. As always, I'd be very interested to hear your comments, questions and opinions. Thank you for watching. Greetings everyone. Now I just want to address this news story that was published in the Daily Mail on the 7th of April 2022, which is today. Of course, I say publish in the Daily Mail, but what one news outlet publishes, every single other news outlet will also cover identically, because they all publish the same thing, no independent journalism. This is a headline and a half, so you'll have to bear with me while I just take a breath. They're pretty much telling you the entire story just in one headline, in which case, why bother reading it? Thank you, Boris. Olympic swimmer Sharon Davies leads praise for PM as he says, trans women should not Greetings, apologies, we overrun a little bit there. So you had to watch that video twice. Thanks if you stuck with us and didn't tune out. Yeah, we're finishing off the last part. Yeah, the reason I mentioned gender reveal parties just before our intermission was another story I want to look at. Right, I'll cut out the intermission video. Actually, at this point, might be a good opportunity to thank Linda Max, Skeptic936, Nathan Oakley and Midnight Scribbler for supporting this channel, and let you know that if you want to have a look over on Patreon, there's a link in the description. I know it's also on the screen now. I also invite anyone, before you leave tonight, if you want to hit the thumbs up button, that would be much appreciated. Whether it helps or does anything, I'm not sure. Sharing on social media is always advised. You know, if you use social media and you want to share our show with your followers, then why not? Hey, okay, we'll move straight on to the next. Apparently actually, I'll have a look at, just to catch up with the chat before we move on. AJ's pointed out it's the original Easter day today, and is based on the sun rising due east after winter. I've got to say, actually, today was the first day I've actually felt it warm. It's been, you know, cold all year. It was cold at the end of last year, but yeah, first day that I could kind of feel that spring is on the way. Although I think we are actually meant to already be in spring now. Whereas what they now call Easter, it ties in with Passover, I believe, and is based on the first new moon of the lunar year. I'm not sure, we could look into it. But yeah, Passover, Easter would be coming up soon. Interesting by the sounds of it then. Maria pointed out doesn't celebrate any pagan festivals. I try and avoid them as much as possible. Christmas is something I just do my best not to involve myself with. But just like Bullshit 19, when your entire family do involve themselves in it, it's very difficult to completely remove yourself. Put it this way, I have done a lot better job at removing myself from BS19 as I have from Christmas, for example, but it is possible. Right. Let's see. Right, yeah, as I said, sorry. Gender reveals. Apparently Harry and Meg have joined I was trying to figure out... Where are we? Cannot find it. Surely I haven't closed it. Maybe. Yeah, it looks like I've lost that page, but I'm sure we could find it again. Okay. Okay, maybe not. But yeah, supposedly I saw Harry and Meghan had joined a group that advocate families not gendering their child until, let me see, I must be able to find it. It was, okay, Meghan and Harry back group that accuses parents of gendering unborn children. Let's have a look at that one. This was it. I thought curious. I mean, of course, it isn't parents that tell anyone, that mention gender of child or sex of their unborn child. It is hospitals. But then when you read the story, by the way, if you want to talk waxwork models, how fake does this image look? As some kind of lifeless almost robotic appearance of Meghan. Is it just a terrible photograph of her? Whereas the one of Harry looks a lot more... Well, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm not saying they haven't just taken 2 waxwork models. Yeah, Prince Harry and his wife Meghan's podcast. Get a little plug in there for his archetypes. And they have a partnership with Global Boyhood Initiative, something that very specifically mentions gender, a group which aims to promote gender equity by fostering a positive masculinity in boys and men. The initiative has created a curriculum which is being piloted in London schools and encourages many primary children to question gender norms. So encouraging the idea that you can be what you want to be. Why stop at gender? Why not be whatever species you choose? I knew of a person, I used to see him, and he had a tail sticking out of his trousers, and I think he identified as some sort of, who knows, I don't want to know. Maybe he just liked wearing a tail. Perhaps he just thought it was a great fashion item that should be in. The State of UK Boys, a report published last year. See, that's a very strange name for, Global Boyhood Initiative. Is a strange name for an organisation that suggests that you can be what you want to be. Families and schools are a gender and heterosexuality factory. Interesting choice of words for a family. Should it be that families should promote homosexuality? That's pretty out there. Gender is not tied to sex organs. No, okay. It is kind of tied to the people's shape. There's a reason women wear dresses and skirts and men don't. But never mind about that. There's a reason women's, trousers are cut differently. Because if men tried to wear them, there would be big flappy bits around the hips. And they would come up far too high. Just like a woman wearing men's jeans is ridiculous because they're just not cut that way. The report argues that the statement, "boys will be boys," could be dangerous. Wow, dangerous, a statement. It objects to public representation of boys and boyhoods as in opposition to and distinct from girls. Well, yeah, boys are actually distinct from girls, believe it or not. That is just a fact of life. Some would say that is oppressive. The way we are created is oppressive to some people. And if you want to believe that, despite us telling you it's got nothing to do with your body parts, what was it they said? What words did they use? It's not tied to sex organs. If you want to believe that, why do many of these people feel the need and are encouraged to hack up their sex organs? It's bizarre, truly. Sorry, maybe. Well, no, I'm not sorry. It is bizarre to have a surgical operation on an otherwise perfectly healthy body part, and gotta say, it's also dangerous. Yeah, crazy stuff. And yet, soap operas, mainstream media, are pushing and encouraging people to mess around with that sort of thing. I mean, how can you take a school seriously that will teach people that boys can have periods? I mean, is it really an old-fashioned view to think that the female of the species are the ones that have menstrual cycles? Whatever. No, you're just being realistic. Madness. And yet Harry and Meghan are backing a group which children aged between 7 and 11, wow, what a time to start messing with their head. Isn't that about this time? Well, it's a bit earlier than that, where you go to school and get taught all manner of rubbish. Right, they'll learn about the role gender norms play in their lives, but aren't you telling us there are no gender norms? These are the only people that are actually trying to identify anyone. You know, these are the ones that are saying if you're a boy then you should be, you know, crazy stuff. Right. Equitable, inclusive and non-violent attitudes. Unfortunately, in children, in not just children obviously, but violence does occur. Kids fight all the time, and even, you know, even girls, of course, boys as well, but you're not gonna, I don't know. Interesting, actually. I haven't watched many like Hollywood films, or not even Hollywood, but like high profile films recently, but two that I have come across both featured like extreme violence between children, one of which was It, the remake of the Stephen King film, in which it showed bullies being really aggressive and violent. And by the way, all the kids in that look downright strange. Another one was called, was it called The Phone or something? Black Phone. There were just some like overly aggressive, you know, disturbing fights between two kids. I think it was called Black Phone. Let's see. Yeah, it's about some poor kid that gets kidnapped, and yeah, and they really do represent, you know, extreme violence. But yeah, weird film, all about kids going missing. I don't know if you happen to have come across that, but yeah, not personally, not one I'd recommend unless you want to be disturbed by the level of violence. Right, have a look at the live chat. AJ says what Catholics call Easter is the Sunday after the full moon, after the new moon of the spring equinox, and gender is tied to genitals. Yeah, exactly, of course it is. Okay, right, we're sort of heading towards the end of the stream. Actually, we will be wrapping up for about 11:30. Let's see, is there anything I wanted to cover but didn't? We looked at the monastery where the number 22 came up. Yeah, the subject of Khazarians came up. Now, if anyone's got any particular information about these that you think worthy of our attention, I'm always happy to look at them and cover them. The only thing I was going to look at was Zelensky double, because I'm sure there was some, you know, they're obviously going on about Putin using doubles. Let's see, what's the first thing you click on? I would rather actually. It's videos of Zelensky walking up some steps. I'm sure this is going to be the same one. Let's have a look. Last week, Eastern European meetings Zelensky and Joe Biden have sparked conspiracy theories about the Ukraine leader having a body double. Biden made a surprise visit to Kiev. Interesting, when they're talking about Putin, they're absolutely suggesting the idea that their body doubles are used. When they talk about the Ukraine leader, it becomes a conspiracy theory. Do they really think these governments are run any different? Okay, here is the video by Stu Peters. I mean, let's see, can we watch
na
it
Twitterze, jak pisze, pojawił się w Ukrainie, by potwierdzić
Yeah, I mean, this is blatantly put out there, and we're given, you know, they want us to see this. Gotta say, look at some of these guards in the background. What is going on there? Is that... Oh, I can't... That's annoying. I can't do a screen grab without... Yeah, it's not a very good image, unfortunately. But they kind of look like dolls or something. I'm not sure. I would say this is a deliberately staged video. Could be right.
niezachwiane zaangażowanie USA na rzecz
Lose the
Ukrainy.
audio. That's it. 6 minutes. I think there's another one as well where I'm sure Stu Peters will tell us where to look. Let's have a look. Wow, 17,000 replies. Of course, Stu Peters is someone I asked, is he controlled op in a previous stream. I just wanted to see some of the replies to it. Maria says, erections, not elections. An interesting fact that people who have undergone an amputation often experience phantom pains in their amputated parts. Men who have amputated their genitals continue to experience erections. Wow, that's crazy. I knew a guy, and he had some treatment on his brain. He'd had brain tumours or something. Every few years, the local cancer ward or treatment ward told him, we need to zap lasers into your brain, and like a mug, he let them do it. But so I remember him telling me that after that he could feel bugs under his skin. So I'm well aware phantom kind of feelings can be, you know, are a real thing. Well, I fortunately, thank goodness, never experienced them myself, but I've known others mention them. Let's see. Yeah, and apparently there's this horrible operation that the NHS no doubt will do, where they call it's where a woman has what they call bottom half surgery, and the only benefit it gives the woman who wants to portray themselves as a man, I believe, is being able to pee standing up. Of course, a woman can do that anyway, but they can aim it, or they can use a urinal. Again, talking about the differences, you know, you want to believe that the differences between men and women are all in your head. Well, no, they're not. I mean, they're very real, as we said. The shape, buying clothes, there is a very real need for men to buy men's clothes and women to buy women's. There's a very real need for men to use the men's toilets and women to use the women, or as disgusting as gents' toilets are. But where, you know, there's not a lot of profit in people not wanting to change their gender. Right, I hope. Let's see. A great name for a Manchester rapper is Phantom Boner. Yeah. I bet. Okay, right. Whilst the live chat descends into talk about erections, I start planning to wrap up. But I will invite you all to catch up with another stream on, definitely Thursday. If I can, I'll do one earlier in the week, but cannot guarantee that. Before we go, I'm going to thank Midnight Scribbler, Maria Ellender, Susan Byrne, AJ Wild. Let's see who else is tuned in tonight. Nathan Oakley, Midnight Scribbler, Susan Byrne, if I've not already mentioned you, Sunstar Thunder Lightning. Anyone else? Nicholas Pitts. Apologies if I've missed anyone. Thank you ever so much for taking the time to tune in though. Yeah, I'll leave you with the thought that every celebrity baby you see... No, okay, is that a bit over ambitious? Yeah. 99% of the... not only babies, but people presented on mainstream are, at the very least, suspect, worthy of closer inspection, and that is what I'm always happy to do. And we'll be back again on Thursday evening, maybe even before, with our next stream. Maria, thank you for... Yep, you're more than welcome, and thank you also for tuning in and taking part in the live chat. It's great to catch up with you all. Right, we have a video to play out with. Yes, Susan, good night to you also. Right, the video is from, again, another one from June 22, is Deborah James' CGI Fakery. Okay. Yeah, night also to Midnight Scribbler, and yeah, of course I gave you guys a thanks earlier, but yeah, thanks to my Patreon supporters Linda Mack and Midnight Scribbler, and thanks to Nathan Oakley and Skeptic936 for contributing to this channel. It's much appreciated. And finally, I'm not going to keep on about it, but if you want to hit the thumbs up, that is a very kind gesture on your part. Okay, yeah, I think this video is about 4 minutes long. I always do the shortest of my 3 videos at the end. Okay, yeah, we're going to say over and out. And I thank you for joining me. Alright, be back Thursday, if not before. Take care. Good night. Greetings everyone, now on my last live stream on Sunday the 12th of June 2020.